Welcome. This is Linux for Beginners, the opening of a 24-part series that takes you from your very first terminal prompt all the way to running a hardened production server you actually operate yourself. No hype, no shortcuts, no filler. Just one part at a time, building real skills you'll keep. So go ahead, open a terminal, and let's begin. Before we go any further, a quick word about who this is for. Maybe you've never opened a terminal and the blinking cursor makes you nervous. That's fine, we start at zero. Maybe you're a developer who treats Linux as a black box, an admin who picked things up piecemeal, or someone preparing for LFCS, RHCSA, or LPIC. Wherever you're starting from, the path ahead is the same. One person, one terminal, one real server at the end. And that real server is the promise of this course. By the end, you'll be running a hardened VPS, a public web server with HTTPS, SSH locked down to keys, a firewall, fail-to-ban turning away the noise, automated backups, and monitoring you actually trust. Along the way, you'll get comfortable in the terminal, write shell scripts that fail safely, work with systemed cron and logs, and pick up the modern tools, Docker, Git, monitoring, that tie it all together. Here's how we get there. The first 4 parts lay the foundations, what Linux actually is, moving around the terminal, files, and permissions. Parts 5 through 10 cover daily admin, users, processes, packages, systemed logs. Then we step into networking and security, then storage and automation with shell scripting, and finally the modern toolchain, Docker, Git, performance tuning, and your VPS. Each part stands on its own, but the order is deliberate. Foundations first, fancy stuff later. Every part in this series follows the same 5-step rhythm. We start with why it matters, the actual problem you'll hit, not theory. Then the mental model, then real commands in a real shell, then the mistakes people make and how to fix them. And we close with a cheat sheet, 1 page worth saving because you will come back to it. To follow along, you barely need anything. If you're on Windows, open PowerShell and run WSL to install. 5 minutes later, you have Ubuntu, no reboot, no dual boot. If you'd rather keep things sandboxed, grab VirtualBox and the Ubuntu 24.04 LTS ISO and break things freely. And if you want the real feel of a server you actually operate, $5 a month at Hetzner, DigitalOcean, or Linode gets you a public IP and a proper target. Pick one. Any of them works for the whole series. Once your environment is ready, how you use this series matters more than how fast you move through it. Type every command by hand. Copy-paste teaches your clipboard, not you. Pause before I show the answer and break things on purpose. Run RM wrong. Read the error, fix it. Keep a plain text journal, 1 line per session. And pace yourself. 1 part a week. Applied beats the whole thing in a weekend. Everything I make for this series lives in a few predictable places. Slides, cheat sheets, and the full ebook catalog are on Dargslan.com. Code, scripts, and tools are on GitHub. The video series itself is on YouTube. Playlist linked in every description. LinkedIn and X for shorter updates. Dev2 and Medium for the long reads. Pick the 1 or 2 channels that fit how you actually learn and ignore the rest. So that's the map. 24 parts, 1 server at the end, and a path you can actually walk. Part 1 starts where it should, with the simple question of what Linux even is before we touch a single command. When you're ready, open Part 1, Foundations, and we'll begin.